Happy Tuesday. It is the 8th day of November. It is the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. That means it's Election Day. Happy Election Day. It's finally here. It's as late as it can be. 8th day of November. Get out and vote. If you haven't done so already, don't forget, you got to get your ballot into your local auditor's office by 8 o'clock. That's when the polls close. 8:07 ain't going to do it. And if you mail it, it's not going to make it on time, period. So you're pretty much relegated to the drop boxes or your auditor's office if you want your vote to count. And we will have live coverage on our Facebook page tonight, a little after 8 o'clock, as we get the first batch of ballots in. As we've already mentioned, we're not going to know a winner by the close of the day today on any of the local races anyway. There's just so many ballots that are left to be counted both in Chelan and Douglas counties. In fact, we're going to give you a little refresher course on all of that. In the back half of the program, we're going to re-air the interview that I did with Skip Moore, Chelan County Auditor, and Thad Duvall, Douglas County Auditor, just to get you in the loop. Friendly reminder, though, that interview was taped on Friday, so just wanted to give you a heads up on that. It's cold, it's raw, some light spittles of snow over the last hour and a half or so. It's 30 degrees. We're in for some more cold temperatures. We're not going to break any records, but it's going to be plenty cold for most people. Forecast details are coming up. We'll have news. We'll have sports. The Seattle Kraken, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. And, of course, the Seahawks will take on Tampa Bay in Munich, Germany on Sunday morning. That is a long road trip. We'll preview that when we get to sports and everything else you need to get your day going. It's going to be a busy day. It's Tuesday. It's going to be a long day. Let's go ahead and begin our tour around North Central Washington with our cameras. Don't know what we'll be able to see today. It's better than it was yesterday. Sunrise this morning, 6:55. Sunset, 4:33. One of the nice things about going back to standard time, at least this show begins in the daylight, which was not the case, of course, for the last few weeks. But gradually, as the sunrise becomes later and later, we'll go back to that darkness. Good morning to the valley from the Wenatchee Heights area. Camera number 2. We had some light snow in the Wenatchee Valley. Didn't stick to anything. Wow, that's spooky and eerie and cloudy and gray, and I don't know. That's the Badger Mountain camera. We were just looking at that not 20 minutes ago, and unless the good captain moved it, and I don't think he did, you could see most of the Wenatchee Valley from the Badger Mountain cameras. That's right at that low layer of clouds that are just hanging around there. We're going to have clouds this morning, and then we'll see some sun breaks this afternoon, but we're going to see our afternoon high at least 12 to 13 degrees below normal again today. We only got to 41 on Monday, which was warmer than we predicted. Our normal high this time of the year is 48, but our normal low of 33 is going to be our afternoon highs for the foreseeable future. Camera number 3. The snow on top of the trees, on top of, I want to say, maybe that's either Blag or Tumwater, and I'm going to guess Tumwater. That's Lake Wenatchee, so that's the Nanapoc Ridge camera. So somewhere down there is Lake Wenatchee, we're pretty sure. I don't think you've gone anywhere. Are the fires out? I'm assuming they're out at this point. I honestly don't know. But I'm pretty sure the fires that broke out in early August have finally been extinguished, courtesy of Mother Nature. And again, these clouds are really hanging around low. And finally, that is a cool, we're doing the same scenario that we had. It wasn't 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago. That was an unbelievable shot. And now the clouds have rolled in. Is that up in Waterville? Is that up in what? Is that up in Waterville? That's the Waterville camera. And not literally 2-3 minutes ago, it was clear. And then the clouds came in just in time for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. That's so what is that Waterville there, or what is that? I don't know what it is. It looks like the moon to me. It is what it is, especially when we get the low clouds and fog, which are normally associated with winter. But we're a long way from winter. The winter solstice isn't until December 31st, but you're not going to know it by looking at the forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, this low pressure is sliding south along the coast, and that is allowing cool, dry air right behind. It's like a vacuum as it slides down the coast where the Pacific Ocean meets Washington State. It's allowing a bunch of cold air to be ushered in from the northwest, and that's what we have, and it's going to be hanging around. An occasional isolated snow shower. I think we're done with those. Maybe the upper elevations might still get a few flakes. Here in the Wenatchee Valley, we're okay. Clouds this morning, sunshine this afternoon. We should warm up to 35. Again, our normal high this time of the year is 48 degrees. Overnight low tonight, 19. Not a record breaker, but pretty darn cold. Now, the record low temperature for Wednesday, tomorrow, is 17. We'll be close to that, but we'll see some more sunshine, too. And, of course, the angle of the sun in the sky doesn't really warm up the planet at this point of the year. 38, 35, 34, 37, going to be stuck in this rut with lots of cold air trapped here on the valley floor. At least, we'll see more sun than clouds. A very gradual, and I mean very gradual, warming trend coming our way by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the weather outside of cold is kind of boring. And for me, I can live with boring. But those overnight lows in the teens, chilly at night. And it takes a while to warm up too. And none of these afternoon highs are anywhere near normal. And the overnight lows are very much below normal. So we're looking at 10, 12, 13, 14 degrees below normal, both for our afternoon high and our overnight low. It's 6 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have your news. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Dr. Kim Schreier, and I approve this message.
This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. She says the massacre at Sandy Hook was staged. She claims there's no evidence terrorists hit the Pentagon on 9/11. She's even called for members of Congress to be executed. And this is Matt Larkin. He says he, quote, aligns with Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's why Matt Larkin is dangerous, because the last thing we need is another Marjorie Taylor Greene in Congress.
1989, I moved here in July. My dad farmed, my brother's still on the family farm. I worked for a dealer in Lewiston, Idaho. I was his general sales manager. My boss goes, I got a guy that may be ready for a store. We made one trip here, and that's how I ended up here. I'd never been here in my life, and I had no friends here. I have nothing, I do now. I have a lot of friends here. I mean, this is my home. I love living here.
30 degrees, lots of clouds this morning, some sun breaks this afternoon, not very warm. Overnight lows will be in the teens. Afternoon highs right above freezing, maybe a little bit warmer than that, but these temperatures are definitely quite cold for this time of the year. It's just about 8 minutes after the hour. It remains to be seen if money equals votes in Chelan County's contested elections, but happy birthday to David Muir. The dollars are adding up. We're off to a great start this morning. Filings with the Washington State Public Disclosure Commission show independent candidate Ann Hesberg has raised more than $75,000 in that race to take an open county commissioner seat. She's both outraised and outspent her Republican opponent, Sean Smith, by more than 2-1. The $109,000 total fundraising far outpaces the last campaign for an open commissioner seat. And that was the two Republicans who squared off a couple of years ago, Tiffany Gehring and Dale England, who raised just over $38,000 between them. Meanwhile, the race for sheriff threatens to be the most expensive in Chelan County history. Incumbent Brian Burnett has pulled in $88,000 in his bid to retain his seat. His challenger, Mike Morrison, has raised more than $42,000, both men running as Republicans. When Burnett first won office in 2010, he and his opponent raised a total of $66,000 between the two of them. And finally, the race that you see on your screen. Alan Blackman, a candidate for district court judge, he's raised almost $30,500. His opponent, John Volan, has raised around $17,000. The two men are battling over the judicial vacancy being left behind by retiring Judge Roy Ford. Well, Election Day is underway. Both Chelan and Douglas counties seeing a big influx of ballots that might not be fully tabulated until days or even more than a week after today. Douglas County Auditor Thad Duvall, Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore talked with me, and we discussed how the process of the ballots are validated and counted once they end up in their offices.
When we bring the ballots in, we separate them and put them in batches. And then the first thing we do after we do that, when we log them in where they came from, is then we take them to the signature checking station. And so if Skip holds that up there and covers the address.
Thank you, Skip.
We take the signature and we compare it with the one we have on hand in the computer. And if we get a match at that point, then the voter is credited for voting. And then I'll let Skip take it from there.
Right, because it's that's a big control. Is we scan this, the barcode that's on the bottom here, we scan that and that brings up your voter file. Mm-hmm. We see the signature on the screen, gives us the reference sample, we check the signature, so now we can pretty much are certain that you returned your ballot and you're credited voting. At that point, we still got a lot more to do with this ballot. We've got to take it from there, it goes over to a machine, or depending on the process, we slice the envelope so we can get into it. Our process is we got a pretty cool machine that drops the machine, takes slices on two sides, little suction cups, grab the outside of the envelope and pull it open. So the operator can just pull out the secrecy sleeve and the ballot at the same time. And then in that process, you can't even see the signature, which goes back to that privacy issue or secrecy side of it. When they pull out the envelope, the ballot and the secrecy sleeve, the machine automatically advances this envelope away, and then the next one that's pulled out, it's gone. So the chance of knowing how someone voted is taken out of the process, because you've got ballot in one hand, envelope in the other, and they go in different directions at that point. So we can't track back how an individual voted based upon just opening the envelope and just, well, how'd this go? We don't do that, we spread them apart. And that also is a control at the end of the election. For every ballot that we're tabulating, we have an envelope and a signature from the voter, which serves kind of like a poll book of the old days. So many ballots, so many envelopes and signatures. That's how we balance the process.
A Wenatchee woman who rammed her car into an undercover police vehicle last month has now pled guilty to charges in both Chelan and Douglas counties and received a 7-year prison sentence. 28-year-old Danielle Renee Reyes was being sought by police back on October 19th for frequently fleeing from traffic stops around the valley. Well, when detectives from the Columbia River Drug Task Force closed in on her on Highway 28 and South Lyle Avenue, she threw her car into reverse and slammed into the front of an unmarked police SUV. The task force vehicle was totaled. The agency says it's going to cost about $35,000 to replace it. In Douglas County Superior Court on Thursday, Reyes pled guilty to second-degree assault, eluding police, malicious mischief, and negligent driving. That's in addition to her Chelan County convictions of DUI and fleeing from a traffic stop. Judge Brian Huber handed down the 84-month sentence. Another motorist faces charges of attempting to run down 2 Wenatchee police officers who were on foot. Luis Angel Zuazo Ortiz, 27 years old, allegedly gunned his SUV towards the Wenatchee officers on October 10th at the intersection of Peachy and Walker. They were assisting with a disabled vehicle. The incident happened just after midnight. Police say Ortiz was wearing sunglasses at the time. They say they later found him in his vehicle unconscious in a Wenatchee parking lot. Ortiz is charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault. He remains free on a $10,000 bond. He was due to be arraigned yesterday in Chelan County Court. A 34-year-old Oroville man was killed Friday evening when the pickup he was driving left the roadway and struck an embankment about 2 miles outside of Oroville. The Washington State Patrol said Joseph W. Davis was driving south on Highway 97 just after 5 p.m. when he lost control of the 1993 GMC Sierra he was driving. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The accident blocked C. Holmes Road for almost 3 hours. The cause of the wreck remains under investigation. And it's been almost 4 months since lawyers for Confluence Health asked a Douglas County judge to dismiss a lawsuit brought by former medical staff over COVID-19 vaccinations. The group of 92 former nurses and other Confluence workers claim that the vaccine requirement was discriminatory. Confluence says the case should be thrown out. It has no merit, according to them. Since then, the plaintiffs have been allowed to modify their lawsuit twice, adding claims that Confluence failed to accommodate their religious beliefs or their disabilities when it made the vaccine a condition of employment. Confluence argues that some of the staffers never even asked for such exemptions. Judge Brian Huber says he'll rule on the case in a written order, which is yet to occur. That's what's making news. At 15 minutes after the hour, it is election night. We're going to be working tonight. That's the nature of the beast in this business. And with the preview of the news, it's our good buddy Jefferson Robbins.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, it's Election Day, and that means one thing. results. We'll let you know who's up and who's down after the polls close this evening. You can find those updates on our website, ncwlife.com, as well as our Facebook page starting after 8 p.m. this evening. Remember, though, this is just the first round of collected ballots to be counted, and auditors have told us the final count could take quite a few days. We'll be following those outcomes as well as all the weather and sports you can stand. That's tonight and every weeknight, 5, 6, and 10 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel. We'll see you this evening, Dan.
You know, Jefferson, yeah, we're working tonight, but hey, it's election night. We don't have any problems with that. If you got a news tip, I'd love to hear from you. We've gotten some stories courtesy of you folks. We'd like that. So send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. If you go to our Facebook page, you can use the Messenger app and drop us a note that way. If you go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, there's a Contact Us icon. That is a really cool shot of up in Waterville there. I like that. Or you can give us a call at 888-NCW. All right, going to take a break. When we come back, you know it's college basketball season already? Yeah. Gonzaga got going, so do the Dogs and the Cougs. We'll talk about that and more sports in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up in Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm here at Boswell's Home Furnishings to announce one of their newest lines of furniture, Builtwell, an amazing local furniture maker in Oregon.
Hi, can I help you?
I was just telling my friends.
About Builtwell? They have exquisite craftsmanship, superior construction. I love their designs. Builtwell is a great addition to the wide selection of quality furniture you'll find here at Boswell's.
Boswell's Furniture on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Welcome to Bubbly by Cake Chick, where friends come to relax and reconnect. Enjoy delicious lunches, decadent desserts, classic champagne, and bourbon tastings. Make every day an occasion when you join friends at Bubbly by Cake Chick on Riverside Drive in Wenatchee.
17 minutes after the hour, the Seattle Kraken back home after a very successful 3-game road trip. Nashville is in town. The Kraken went 3-0 on the road trip. They have the first 4-game winning streak in franchise history. Coach Dave Haxtell says the recent success is about players buying into the culture that they're trying to create.
Just about working through every day the process, and showing up and doing our work. And I said to start the year, we wanted to make sure that we're ready to compete every day to win hockey games. We, for the most part, we've been that. We let a couple slip away early, but we've been in the fight every single night. We're finding ways to win, especially over the last couple of weeks here, and we need to see the continuation of that, and that's what today was. Today was just a good work day, and get ourselves ready for we got a short run here at home, and we got to take advantage of that beginning tomorrow.
Kraken are in second place in the NHL's Pacific Division, thanks to the play of guys like, Jaden Schwartz, Matty Beniers, and Jared McCann.
We've kept, Wenny's line has stayed, pretty consistent all the way through. We've been able to leave Matty's, fairly consistent as well. There's been a little bit of change, to the other two lines, but that's based off of several different factors. So we've been able to have some consistency there. That's been important. That it allows some of the chemistry to grow. Not only amongst that group of three, but also just in terms of their roles within a hockey game. And again, that's that can change on a nightly basis depending on the situation. But for me, that's been one of our strengths, is having guys from different areas of the roster step up, contribute, step into different roles throughout a 60-minute hockey game.
The Kraken and the Predators, national TV tonight. The broadcast will be on TNT. They'll drop the puck at 7 o'clock at Climate Pledge Arena. Seahawks back at the practice facility in Renton. They're getting ready for the longest road trip of the season. It is 5,273 miles from Seattle to Munich. They'll take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first ever NFL game in Germany. Coach Pete Carroll says he's not concerned about the challenge of the game. He's concerned about the challenge of the game, not the travel.
The challenge is one that both teams have. It's going into the newness, and the adapt them on the road and all that. So I don't think it's that big a deal. I really don't. And we've got a big travel thing to endure, but so do they. So it's a bit of a competition in that regard, that put all of the elements that it takes to get this whole thing on the move and transfer us to a new country and all that and figure it out. But we have such a great group around us and people that can function so well together, and they're so well organized that it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, we're just going to go play another away game.
Coach Pete says it's an honor to be a part of the first ever NFL game in Germany. He said it reminds him when he was a college football coach.
To me, it's like a bowl game. It's like everything around it. There's somewhat of a celebration everywhere you go, and just as you travel and at the airports, where it just seems like there's an added level of attention to it that makes it fun. And the last thing we're going to do is try to diminish the fun part of it. We're going to enjoy the heck out of it. We're not going to go live it up in Germany. We're not doing that. We're going to go play a game and all that. But we're going to enjoy that which we can, and really play our butts off so they get to see what this game looks like, and try to do it in great fashion.
Seahawks are 6-3 on the season. Tampa Bay is 4-5, coming off a last-second win last week. And Coach Carroll says you got to respect Tom Brady, even if he is 45 years old.
Long-standing respect, first off, and he's a great player, one of the greatest. He is the greatest of all time, and so we get to go against him, and we'll go take our shot and see if we can knock him down. They got experience. They're tough, really physical defensively. Everybody's got issues. We all got issues and all that, but they have the makeup and the coaching to overcome anything. So had a great win yesterday, and I know that's really exciting for them in propelling them into this game.
Seahawks, Buccaneers, 6:35 in the morning on Sunday on the NFL Network. The college basketball season got underway last night. Cashmere's Haley Van Lith made an early statement. She's now in her junior year at Louisville.
Louisville could use an easy bucket right here. Van Lith gets him just that. Van Lith will reset, checks the shot clock, down to 5. Using the Dixon screen, gets inside, floats it up and in on Saturday. I mean, come on.
Haley, by the way, had 28 points. Number 7 Louisville defeated Cincinnati, as you see there, 87-68. Bella Murakuti scored 18 points. Charlize Ledger-Walker 16. The Cougars all over Loyola Marymount in women's basketball, 93-41. And the Lady Huskies also victorious in their opener over Utah Tech, 87-74. Trinity Oliver led the Huskies with 18 points. As far as the men are concerned, second-rate Gonzaga went on a 26-0 run early in the first half. And needless to say, they blew off the doors of North Florida, 104-83. It was in Spokane last night. Drew Timme, 22 points. Julian Swather, 16. The Cougars trailed at half, but they righted the ship in the second half to win its 33rd straight home opener. They beat Texas State 83-61. Coach Kyle Smith, pretty happy.
There's Mason Harrell right there. Bamba trying to stay with him. And there's the shot clock. The Cougars will run. Mullins spins. Left hand up and good. Good start for Washington State. And now Powell. Another junior transfer. Lead from Muhammad Gay. Lost the grip, picked it up, left hand goes. And another chance for the Cougars. Bamba spins, left hand. It falls, a chance for 3. Dylan Darling, a freshman from Spokane, checked in for Washington State. Gay got inside. Jump hook goes. Rodman dials up the 3 from the corner.
I thought it was a really good effort, considering we're a little short-handed and had some freshmen that we need to mix in the lineup. They're a little nervous first half, and we're playing with foul trouble. And Texas State's used to winning. I mean, they've won 20 games the last 2 years, and we're down 4 in the first half, and felt that, we had some issues there, and we were able to steady the ship and went zone, really turned the game, I thought. And we got some, really proud of the way Mo played. I think that's how he's been playing. He just kind of made another nice step forward, just confidence-wise. The only thing he's going to get better throughout the season.
And the Huskies, they got off to a slow start, but then they turned it off. And in the second half, they knocked off Weber State 69-52, 20 points from Keon Brooks.
Jones looking to spin. Kepning with the rejection.
Might get his first technical as a head coach.
Kepning with 3 blocks. Bajema with a 3-ball, and the Dogs are on fire all of a sudden. PJ to PJ.
Minnie, all right, be careful.
A deep 3, no. Nia goes
Strong,
up
Braxton.
for the board and hammers that one home. 69-52 is your final. Keon Brooks Jr. with 20 points.
You know what? We were flying around. We were disruptive. I wasn't happy with the turnovers in the first half, but there's a level of turnover. Our turnovers were trying to make the pass. It was a lob. It was a bad pass, but it was the right idea, and that's where I was really excited about that. Having the rim protectors changes the game. We have length at every position, and we're going to utilize that.
And finally, Eastern lost their opener of the year in men's basketball to Santa Clara, 84-72. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Election Day, Tuesday, November 8th. For the obscure holiday, I could have chosen National Dunce Day. It's National STEM Day. It's National Parents as Teachers Day. It's National Harvey Wallbanger Day. It was a big cocktail back in the 70s. National Cappuccino Day. But no, we're not going to do any of those today. Today is National Tongue Twister Day today. And tongue twisters are fun when you try to do them on purpose. When you're a professional talker and you can't spit the words out, they're not so fun. So instead, I have fun facts about the tongue. It's the best I could do. The average tongue is about 3 inches long. Taste buds are designed to keep us alive. I mean, if you taste something that tastes bad, that means like it's poisonous or it's bad for you. That's why those things are created. To begin with, your tongue print is as unique as your fingerprint. Maybe the next time you get arrested, ask to take a tongue print instead. Your tongue is composed of 8 different muscles. The tongue is the only muscle in the body that is not attached to a bone. It's free-floating. And the average tongue has about 4,000 taste buds, but there are tongues that have close to 10,000 taste buds. They're known as super tasters, and you can actually get a job as a super taster. Actually exists. Maybe I should consider changing careers. Happy International Tongue Twister Day today. All right, let's move forward to Today in History. We are doing presidential elections because here we are, the first week in November, so we'll move forward to the 1864 presidential election, a good one for Abe. Now remember, the 1864 presidential election was in the middle of a civil war, so they didn't have the Republican Party. They created what was called the National Union Party, which was a combination of Republicans and Democrats who wanted to win the war, as opposed to the other Democrats who, if they won, they would say, let's just call the whole thing off. So it was actually the National Union Party that Abe Lincoln was in charge of. Of course, there were 9 states in the Confederacy who couldn't play along at all. Lincoln defeated his former general, George B. McClellan. Wasn't really much. So way to go, Abe. He didn't live particularly long after that, but he won the very first election ever held in this country in the middle of a civil war. There was some thought about not even doing one, but they did, and he won 158 years ago today. The rematch of the 1888 presidential election was held on this date in 1892, the 130th anniversary of the rematch between former president, the Democrat Grover Cleveland, and the sitting president, Benjamin Harrison. Benjamin Harrison had beat Grover Cleveland the year before. Grover Cleveland comes back 4 years later and wins the presidency. He is the first and today only person ever in American history to be elected to non-consecutive terms to the presidency. By the way, the Democrats did not win another presidential election until 1912. They had a 20-year losing streak, and Cleveland easily won the electoral vote. And by the way, this was the very first presidential election that the state of Washington participated in. Benjamin Harrison won all 4 of our electoral votes in this state. The 1904 presidential election held on this date in 1904. And Theodore Roosevelt became the first president who assumed the office after the death of his predecessor and then won election in his own right. He easily won the electoral vote over Alton B. Parker, 336 to 140. Roosevelt won 70% of the vote in Washington State, won all 39 counties. Theodore Roosevelt got 72% of the vote in Chelan County and 71% of the vote in Douglas County. 90 years ago, the great landslide of 1932, Herbert Hoover, the President of the United States, in the depth of the Great Depression, is absolutely blown off the doors by the governor of New York, FDR, who wins the election. The first Democrat in 80 years, FDR was, to win the outright majority in both the popular vote and the electoral votes. He got 472 electoral votes, and with FDR's election in 1932, that ended the dominance that Republicans had in the presidency that basically lasted from the Civil War to the Great Depression. Roosevelt won every county in Washington State, easily winning Chelan County, 53% to 40%. Douglas County went 58% for FDR in the election of 1932. The tightly contested 1960 presidential election goes to JFK over to the incumbent Vice President, Richard Nixon, the first election in which all 50 states participated. Kennedy won the electoral victory, 303 to 219, but he won the national vote by only 112,000 votes of all the votes cast nationwide. That's a margin of 0.17%. Tiny, tiny, tiny. But he won the Electoral College fairly handily. In this state, not surprisingly, Nixon, at least in this area, Nixon won. He got 54% of the vote in Chelan County and 51% of the vote in Douglas County. This is the 34th anniversary of the 1988 presidential election with George W. Bush, the incumbent vice president, defeating Michael Dukakis, the governor of Massachusetts. Not much on the electoral vote. It was a landslide, 426 to 111. George H.W. Bush becomes the first sitting vice president to win the presidency since Martin Van Buren in 1836. That's a long time. Michael Dukakis won Washington State. In fact, Washington State, the margin of difference, Dukakis won the state by 1.59%. Washington State was the closest state in the 1988 election. Dukakis won it. Bush easily winning Chelan and Douglas County with over 58% of the vote. And finally, this was the upset. The upset. Donald Trump, businessman from New York City, defeats the former Secretary of State and Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton to win the presidency. The electoral vote, the exact same as it would be 4 years later, 304 to 277. Trump easily carried both Chelan and Douglas County. 55% of the vote went to Trump in Chelan County and 62% of the vote in Douglas County 6 years ago today. Finally, some birthdays. Who is the wealthiest chef in the world? That guy. Gordon Ramsay, the British chef, owns a lot of restaurants, a television host. He comes off as brusque and rude, but being brusque and rude apparently makes you a lot of money because he is the wealthiest chef in the world. He is 56 years old today. And earlier in the day, you briefly saw a photo of David Muir, who has been the anchor of ABC's World News Tonight for the last 8 years. World News Tonight is the most watched newscast in the United States. David Muir is 49 years old today. I'm going to take a break. An opinion from Mike Mad Dog McNaughty. Yeah, one more refresher course on elections 2022 from Thad Duvall and Skip Moore. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up in Anchi Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Hi folks, welcome to Save Mart. How can we help you today?
We're looking for a recliner.
Okay, right this way. Go ahead and move this chase on the other side. You can lift this one.
Great, I want that one. I like that one.
That's a great choice.
And I want this one as well.
Okay.
And I definitely want this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a four-letter word.
I think I'll sell my veggies at the market.
You even remember to water the house plants. I do this?
You can do this.
Hey, we need to build a home office.
We're adding another bathroom.
I think I'll study programming.
Bro, you even connect your phone to Bluetooth.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
Hello, television family. Grab your cup of coffee each weekday morning and join me. I'm Dan Kuntz, the host of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's everything you need to start your day. We're live and we're local at 7 a.m. every weekday on the NCW Live channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Hey, this is Mad Dog McNally, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, something I ask of my counseling clients is, how many times in the past few months have you lost your temper? Now, regardless of what they answer, I tell them the truth. The truth is that they've never lost their temper. None of us has. Because we don't lose our temper, we give it away. Now, no one makes me mad or makes me do anything unless I give up personal responsibility and let them control me. Saying I lost my temper is the same thing as saying that somebody else did something bad enough for me to act like a jerk, but it's their fault. And the scientific, clinical term for that kind of thinking is BS. This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
While it may be hard to resist those big brown eyes and pleading face, many people aren't aware that people food can be dangerous to pets. And it's not just because of the added weight gain. Some foods are downright dangerous, including chocolate. For a detailed list of dangerous foods, go online to pawsandclawsvh.com. If you suspect your pet has eaten something dangerous, please call Dr. Shauna Baez and her staff at 888-PAWS, as your pet's health is important to us.
Green Motion is Central Washington's home for affordable e-bikes. They carry 5 models of Class 2 e-bikes, including folding models that fit right in the trunk of your car, and full-size mountain bikes with front suspension. All e-bikes include 5 levels of pedal assist and a throttle, allowing you to travel up to 30 miles with ease. The USB port can charge cell phones and other electronics right from your bike. You fell in love with your first bike, now fall in love again with a new Green Motion e-bike, located in the Mills Brothers building on the corner of Palouse and Wenatchee Avenue.
Bob's Burgers and Brew in East Wenatchee, a place for the entire family. Open daily for lunch and dinner. We use only the finest ingredients, prepared fresh when you order. The full menu includes your choice of over 20 gourmet beef or chicken burgers. And catch your favorite game in their full-service lounge while sipping on an ice-cold beer. Bob's Burgers and Brew, fast, friendly service. We will see you there.
Welcome back to the program. General Election Day, November 8th, as late as it can be. And these two gentlemen will tell you that's actually a good thing in their job. They're earning their paychecks, as they always do, for this off-year election. Sitting to my immediate left is the Douglas County Auditor, Thad Duvall, and his cohort in Chelan County. Skip Moore joins us always this time of the year. It's good to see you, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. That's a little busy.
Yeah, happy. Well, let's start with that, and we'll let both of you address it. How are things since the ballots began to flow in over the last couple of weeks? How you doing in both of your departments?
Well, Douglas County is at 31% return right now, but we are expecting a 60 to 70% turnout. So it's going to have a lot of ballots come in over the weekend and through Election Day to make that work. But we think it's going to happen.
Skip? Same way. We're at 30% as of yesterday. I anticipate we're going to probably hit that 75% mark like we did 2 years ago or 4 years ago.
4 years ago, yep.
Which means, geez, I'm going to be getting another 20,000 ballots in the next 3 days. So it's going to be a little busy, But it's a good thing. Turnout's always a good thing.
It is Friday as we tape this, and so we need to have that little caveat there. And perhaps the biggest caveat of all, and we have a lot to touch on, Thad mentioned this before, almost half the votes that are, when the final tally is all said and done and it's certified, about half the votes are going to be after Election Day, are they not? I mean, it's going to be that kind of scenario.
Yeah, when we release election results on election night, that's only the ballots we've been able to process up to that point. And quite frankly, Election Day is so busy, we aren't able to actually process on Election Day, but we do obviously receive all the ballots in. So the turnout percentage on election night will not be the eventual turnout by the time we certify the election. And so we just want to make sure people know that. Sometimes it's the turnout on election night that sticks in people's heads, you know, like 30 or 40%, but in the end, we're going to be 60, 70, 75% when it's all said and done.
I did a little homework, because you're supposed to do your homework when you talk to people about this important deal. In the August primary season in the state of Washington, I think Washington had the 4th highest turnout among all of the states, and 8 of the 10 states that had the highest turnout in the August primary were all states that do vote by mail either exclusively or majority vote by mail. Once again, vote by mail works and it increases turnout.
I believe, yes. It certainly increases turnout. It just takes that one little hurdle. And anything that you put in a hurdle of having to go to the poll site, anything you put in the way or make it a little bit more difficult to vote drives down your level of participation. This way, by giving every voter well early to Election Day the opportunity to get it and take the time to get it in, certainly drives it up. We've taken all those hurdles away, drop boxes, we pay the postage on the ballot. So those level of issues that may slow down turnout have been solved. So yeah, we get good turnout and it's a clean process.
I'm going to have, this is my actual ballot here. I'm going to have Thad hand this to Skip. I know my vote's going to count because Skip's going to take it back to the office with him. As I give this to you, I want to point one thing out here, and I'm just going to cover up my address. We're going to talk about this barcode right here in the lower right-hand corner. And Thad, as you hand that to Skip, let's talk about ballot security. What happened?
Looks like it's signed, Skip.
It's signed.
Okay.
At least it's not a no-sig. And I've seen that signature before. I think that's about right.
Yeah, on my golf scorecard. Walk me through the process. The ballot has arrived at your respective offices, either in Waterville or just up the road at Skip's office. What happens from that point forward? Thad, I'll let you, both of you, address this.
Well, when we bring the ballots in, we separate them and put them in batches. And then the first thing we do after we do that, when we log them in where they came from, is then we take them to the signature checking station. And so if Skip holds that up there and covers the address.
Thank you, Skip.
We take the signature and we compare it with the one we have on hand in the computer. And if we get a match at that point, then the voter is credited for voting. And then I'll let Skip take it from there.
Right. Because it's that's a big control. Is we scan this, the barcode that's on the bottom here, we scan that and that brings up your voter file. We see the signature on screen, gives us the reference sample, we check the signature, so now we can pretty much are certain that you returned your ballot and you're credited voting. At that point, we still got a lot more to do with this ballot. We've got to take it from there, it goes over to a machine or depending on the process, we slice the envelope so we can get into it. Our process is we've got a pretty cool machine that drops the machine, takes slices on 2 sides, little suction cups, grab the outside of the envelope and pull it open. So the operator can just pull out the secrecy sleeve and the ballot at the same time. And then in that process, you can't even see the signature, which goes back to that privacy issue or secrecy side of it. When they pull out the envelope, the ballot and the secrecy sleeve, the machine automatically advances this envelope away, and then the next one that's pulled out, it's gone. So the chance of knowing how someone voted is taken out of the process because you've got ballot in one hand, envelope in the other, and they go in different directions at that point. So we can't track back how an individual voted based upon just opening the envelope and just, well, how'd this go? We don't do that, we spread them apart. And that also is a control at the end of the election. For every ballot that we're tabulating, we have an envelope and a signature from the voter, which serves kind of like a poll book of the old days. So many ballots, so many envelopes and signatures. That's how we balance the process.
Go ahead, Ted. I'm sorry.
So what I wanted to just really drive home is,
please,
if you could just picture that in your mind, you've got the ballot in the secrecy sleeve and the signature which connects the two. They go two completely different directions. From that point on, no one knows whose ballot that is. You have total ballot secrecy.
Both of you have a very secure campus where this is taking place. You have people, paid professionals who do this during this time of the year. How are things? How's morale? Have you been getting any nasty emails or phone calls about rigged this and crooked that? Is any of that going on?
No, we haven't. I haven't. Our office is. I've got a couple frequent flyers that always are willing to give me a call and discuss with me what they think about the process. But as far as the general public coming in, getting replacement ballots, registering for the first time, it's all been good. And our folks, since we haven't been jammed up yet with volume, they've been able to rhythmically move through the process. Now, when we start back up on Monday and Tuesday, it'll get a little hectic because the concern will be we'll get that big slug of ballots on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then our hope is as rapidly as possible, but correctly, process them to get them into the results, because that's a short week next week.
That's right. The Veterans Day is actually on a Saturday this year, so the holiday is going to be observed on a Friday. That's one less
day of processing.
One less day of processing.
Yes.
But on the other side of the coin, Election Day is November 8th, which is as late as it can be, and both of you are on a record. You kind of like that, the fact that you have that much more time between the August 2nd primary and the November 8th general election is actually
more
beneficial.
Room between,
Yeah, that does help out. It does put us a little bit later in the weather, though. But other than that, we're good. But I just want to comment on, but there is a lot of concern out there, and we do get concern calls, and we have a few people who would like us to just do everything by hand and count them by hand and do all that, and so we get that kind of feedback all the time, from just a few people. But my Dropbox people are reporting that all the interactions that they've had when they're out among the public and picking the ballots and people are dropping them off, they're saying that their interactions have been good. Our Dropbox people, and they have the name tags, and they've got, they're clearly identifiable, and they've had good interaction.
Good interaction. No,
with
we haven't
people
had
thanking them for doing their job, and so we're pleased with that.
And it is a bit of a thankless job. Who's kidding who? It's not a pleasant job. It's not an exciting job to sit there in that room, do all that stuff. Yeah. But this is critically important work, and your workers are well vetted in this department.
Yes.
Yeah, they really are. Interestingly enough, there's a lot more for folks in Chelan County to have to decide than Douglas County, but you're both predicting pretty high turnout. Douglas County, you have the 4th Congressional District, you have the Eastmont School District bomb, but only those people who live in the Eastmont School District will be voting on that. Right. And the competition for the Douglas County PUD, that's about all you got to decide there in Douglas County. But you're still predicting a pretty heavy turnout. That's got to make you feel good, even though there's really not that much to decide.
I think so. And there's there's a lot of media, there's a lot of ads, there's a lot of there's been debates and everything. So it is definitely in people's mind. You're not going to forget about the election, okay? That's true. So I think people have been motivated to vote.
On your side of the river, you have the 8th Congressional District. You got 2 people running for sheriff, 2 people running for the open Chelan County Commission seat. You got a district court judge. And another PUD deal. There's a lot of decisions for the folks in Chelan County to be making, and that's why you're thinking you're going to be well above 70%.
I think, yes, that's why I think we're going to get right around that 75%, because very active race, competitive races, and there's still a little bit of hangover from the 2020 process, and people are still energized, which is a good thing. They're getting involved. So I think that's what's helping as well as drive our turnout, in that the national picture of the House of Representative races, the Senate races, those type of things are all helping push up the turnout this time around.
And this is very critical. I want to emphasize the timeline again. Yes, election night is Tuesday, 8 o'clock. That's it. Done. We'll get an initial dump of ballots, everything that was counted up to that point. It'll be spit out via your websites through the Secretary of State's portal. And then we're not going to get anything until Thursday afternoon. And we need to stress that, right, Thad and Skip?
Yes, we'll have a lot in-house we're going to be receiving, we were talking earlier, I anticipate that we're going to get close to 20,000 ballots in the next 3 days.
And you have 50,000 and change
51,000 registered voters.
So almost a half.
Yes,
Yeah.
almost half is going to happen in the next 3 days. And we just cannot push them through the process quick enough so that by Thursday, quite often on the Friday after the election on Tuesday, we're pretty much done with our massive amount of tabulation. That's not going to be the case this time around because of short week. We've seen a late return of the ballots. It's going to be midweek. It's almost going to be the Tuesday or Wednesday following the election. This is when we finally have results and have processed enough ballots that we're down to that 200 ballots in-house scenario. That's a long time. Not a long time. It's longer than has happened in the past.
Well, it'll be a long time if we have close races.
Well, that's the other part, yes. If you have close races, there will be, candidates and even the citizens will be going, why don't we know where we're at? And let's remember, the election's not certified and done until the 29th of November this year. So that's the opportunity to allow military and overseas voters for their ballots to still get back. If they have a valid postmark on them, we still count them.
And it's happened. It's happened before. You've had valid ballots that were postmarked before Election Day that you didn't get till 2 weeks after Election Day. That's just the nature of the beast.
That is something that's happened. So it's going to be a little bit drug out this time. It's just going to take a little bit longer. We won't be able to say on Tuesday night it's over. Yeah. Thursday, the following Tuesday, some things will still be up in the air.
If you're concerned about your ballot, first thing to do, save these guys a huge headache, go to their websites. Every day, at the end of the day, they spit out the spreadsheet and you can look. You can see, hey, my ballot was counted, it was accepted, and I'm good to go. And this is something that I highly recommend. I do it every day. That's how I find out for the turnout is thing. So that's if you go, God, where's my ballot? Where's the status of my ballot? Both of your websites have the spreadsheets. Yes. It's right there.
Right there.
Yeah, and speaking of the timing of ballots coming back in, from here on out, we would advise people to use the drop box for two reasons. Number one, that way you know for sure we're picking them up with an individual every day. And in addition to that, it'll get to us a little quicker that way, because if you put it in the mail, sometimes it does take several days to work through the process and get back to us. So using the drop box will get us more ballots sooner, and because we don't want somebody on election day, especially, to go use a mail drop box that's already been picked up. If that happens and then they pick it up the next day, you'll get the next day's postmark and it'll be a late ballot. So use the drop boxes. You don't have to worry about that.
Two more quick things before we send them on their way. Don't forget, you can register to vote right up to Election Day. You can get there, you'll get signed up, show up with your ID, you'll get a provisional ballot, you'll vote, and it may count.
It'll be an actual ballot.
No, an actual ballot, I'm sorry.
If they register, that's good to go.
Right, so you can register right up to Election Day.
We vet that through Vote Law in our system, and we're checking the ID, and if that all works out, that's not a provisional ballot. It's good to go.
You're both running unopposed. What's it like to vote for yourself?
Well, it's kind of, I look at it as, well, at least if I vote for myself, I'm usually assured that I might win.
Or you can, in Douglas County, there are a lot of unopposed positions. We can compare notes afterwards to see.
There is always a little bit of the bragging rights of who of the unopposed candidates got the most votes.
Again, these guys, I can't tell you how professional these guys are. Skip, of course, before he became Chelan County Auditor, was in charge of elections in Chelan County. Thad has been doing his job in Douglas County when Thad started, Elvis was still dead. That's how long Thad's been doing this job. These guys are top flight professionals, and your staff. Let's close out with that. Give lots of love to the folks who are doing yeoman's work, not only up in Waterville, but in Chelan County. I'll let you guys take it on.
Well, let me just mention what just happened. We do have observers that come up, and we had a set of observers that were here on Wednesday. After they had spent a couple of hours thoroughly understanding the process and watching our election workers work, we got an email back saying that they really appreciated it. They had a good understanding. We have integrity. We're following the law, and it was highly complimentary of the staff and how they were doing their job. And that I would like to echo that they're well trained and they're doing a good job.
Exactly. My folks, same way. They do care about the process. Elections is one of those deals where once you get into it, it's either you love it and you want to do it the best you possibly can, or within 2 years we're running to get away from it. Because we can't wait. We can't put off Election Day. We can't wait. This has to happen. And everybody that works for me, all of my folks, care about ensuring what they're doing is correct and that they actually are making sure the public, their vote, one, counts, and two, they're given the opportunity to vote. So it does make a huge difference. They do care. We're not just handling pieces of paper. We look at it a little bit more important than that.
We'll close it with that. General election, November 8th. And Thad and Skip, thanks for coming in and spending, I know this is an incredibly busy time for you guys to take some time out and visit us with. We appreciate it.
Certainly. Thank you. Check the list to make sure this is in there.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we will be right back.
Mary Maids of Wenatchee believes a clean home is a happy home. Mary Maids provides holiday cleaning services to cheer about. Don't let the seasonal cleaning ruin the festive fun. Mary Maids can simplify your life at a great value. It's never too soon to start planning a holiday perfect home. Mary Maids of Wenatchee happily offers a worry-free guarantee. Locally owned and operated, let Mary Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Call Mary Maids today.
Working with August Edge Real Estate, both sellers and buyers feel confident knowing they are in the hands of award-winning professionals. August Edge offers a 2% listing commission, which includes above-standard service and technology.
We offer high-tech 3D imagery, drone photos, local North Central Washington TV ads, and impressive smart flyer installed at your listing. The August Edge website also hosts your home with an interactive featured listing page.
August Edge is professional, personable, and preferable.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, independent agent and owner at Springwater Insurance Group here in North Central Washington. And it's that time of year again. October 15th to December 7th, that is the time if you have a Medicare plan, do I want to keep it or do I want to change it? For any of those questions, give us a call at Springwater Insurance Group because we're independent agents. We don't work with one company, we work with many companies because all of you have different situations and needs. So if you have questions about 2021 Medicare plans, give us a call, 888-2600.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? With today's home values, this is the perfect time to sell and make those dreams real. When you work with a world-class agent at Coldwell Banker, you benefit from trusted guidance and our revolutionary Seller's Assurance Program to make your home sale more rewarding than ever. So it really is true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams.
We are back in this Election Day 2022. A little programming reminder. We're going to be doing some election results as soon as they are available to us on Facebook Live tonight. So tune in on your Facebook page, get it up and running on your computer, and we will give you the first dump of ballots that will be available after 8 o'clock tonight. We'll have that for you on Facebook Live on our NCW Live Channel Facebook page tonight. Looking forward to that. As you can see, that's the Waterville camera that a couple of, about an hour ago was just completely clouded over. And as you can see, they're covered in snow up there. Is that Lake Wenatchee there, Captain? That's the Lake Wenatchee camera. It's light snow coming up on Nanapoc Ridge. That's a beautiful view from Badger Mountain. That was going to be a gorgeous view to start our show. And right at 7 o'clock, a big cloud bank came and covered up that camera. Now, we are going to have clouds this morning, but it will give way to sunshine this afternoon. But that low-pressure center is sliding south and is bringing in, right behind it, a whole bunch of really cold, dry air. Our relative humidity is going to go down to about nothing. Going to be very, very dry and very, very cold, but we'll have some sunshine this afternoon. We'll get up to about 35 or so. Right now, it's 30 degrees, and that's exactly where we were an hour ago when this show started. Overnight low of 19. Not a record low, but pretty darn cold. Close to a record low tomorrow morning, Wednesday heading into Thursday. The record low is 17. We'll be close to it. These temperatures, both the afternoon highs and the overnight lows, are at least 12 In some locations, 13 to 14 degrees below normal. It is an early view of winter, and we still have 6 more weeks of autumn to go. That's it for us. Have a very good and safe election day. Don't forget results tonight on our Facebook page and on our website. Till then, bye-bye.